Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to our Srimad Bhagavatam Stutis series. Continuing with the Rudra Gita, Shloka number 34, chapter 24 of Canto 4. Namah Pankajanaabhaya
Namah Pankajanaabhaya
Bhuta Sukshmendriyatmane
Bhuta Sukshmendriyatmane
Vasudevaya Shantaya
Vasudevaya Shantaya
Kutasthaya Swarocishe.
Kutasthaya Swarochishe.
Word for word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Namaha.
Namaha.
All obeisances unto you.
All obeisances unto you.
Pankajanabhaya.
Pankajanabhaya.
Unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whose navel the lotus flower emanates.
Unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whose navel the lotus flower emanates.
Bhuta Sukshma.
Bhuta Sukshma.
The sense objects.
The sense objects.
Indriya.
Indriya.
The senses.
The senses.
Atmane.
Atmane.
The origin.
The origin.
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Unto Lord Vasudeva.
Unto Lord Vasudeva.
Shantaya.
Shantaya.
Always peaceful.
Always peaceful.
Kutasthaya.
Kutasthaya.
Without being changed.
Without being changed.
Swarochishe.
Swarochishe.
Unto the supreme illumination.
Unto the supreme illumination.
Translation. My Lord.
My Lord.
You are the origin of the creation.
You are the origin of the creation.
By virtue of the lotus flower.
By virtue of the lotus flower.
Which sprouts from your navel.
Which sprouts from your navel.
You are the supreme controller.
You are the supreme controller.
Of the senses and the sense objects.
Of the senses and the sense objects.
And you are also the all-pervading Vasudeva.
And you are also the all-pervading Vasudeva.
You are most peaceful.
You are most peaceful.
And because of your self-illuminated existence.
And because of your self-illuminated existence.
You are not disturbed by the 6 kinds of transformations.
You are not disturbed by the 6 kinds of transformations.
Purport. The Lord as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu lies in the ocean of Garbha within this universe, and from his navel the lotus flower sprouts. Lord Brahma is generated from that lotus flower, and from Lord Brahma the creation of this material world begins. So even though Lakshmi Devi is right there by Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, the appearance of Lord Brahma was independent of Lakshmi Devi. So Lord Brahma appears on this top of this lotus flower because Garbhodakashayi Vishnu is Swarat, he can do whatever he wants. So from his body comes this lotus flower, on top of the lotus flower appears Lord Brahma. Prabhupada writes, as such, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, is the origin of the material senses and the sense objects. Since Lord Shiva considers himself to be one of the products of the material world, his senses are under the control of the Supreme Creator. Actually, if you look at it, Sadashiva is the glance of Mahavishnu. That glance that comes in touch with Durga Devi, that creates all of this Brahmandas. So Shiva is also involved in the creation process as much as he is involved in the destruction process. But anyway, out of humility here, Lord Shiva is saying, since Prabhupada is writing that Lord Shiva considers himself to be one of the products of the material world. His senses are under the control of the Supreme Creator. So therefore, the Lord has the name Hrishikesha. Hrishikesha means he is the master of my senses. So that means my senses should be used to serve the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is also known as Hrishikesha, master of the senses, which indicates that our senses and sense objects are formed by the Supreme Lord. As such, he can control our senses and out of his mercy, engage them in the service of the master of the senses. So Krishna himself takes control in the lives of his devotees. He uses our senses because he is so causelessly merciful. He engages our senses in his service. So that is how compassionate Krishna is. There is a wonderful shloka in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter Madhya Leela, chapter 19, shloka number 149. It goes as follows: Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ata Eva Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakali Ashanta. This shloka translates as follows: because a devotee of Lord Krishna is desireless, he is peaceful. Fruitive workers desire material enjoyment. Jnanis desire liberation, moksha. And yogis desire material opulence, the siddhis, the ashta siddhis that they want. Therefore, they are all lusty and cannot be peaceful. Therefore, all of the other categories are ashanta, because they always want something. The material person wants to enjoy something. The jnani wants moksha. The yogis want all these siddhis. Therefore, the only shanta person is the devotee of Lord Krishna, because we only want to serve Krishna. And wanting to serve Krishna is considered to be desireless. Everything else is considered to be a material desire. Therefore, Krishna himself, out of his causeless mercy, Prabhupada is writing, he utilizes our senses in his service. In the conditioned state, the living entity struggles in this material world and engages his senses for material satisfaction. However, if the living entity is graced by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can engage these very senses in the service of the Lord. So Lord Shiva desires not to be misled by the material senses, but to engage always in the service of the Lord without being subject to contamination by materialistic influences. So even Lord Shiva is desiring that he should not be touched by all of the materialistic influences, that his focus should be, his attention should be on Lord Krishna. By the grace and help of Lord Vasudeva, who is all-pervading, one can engage his senses in devotional service without deviation, just as the Lord acts without deviation. So, Krishna is known as Atmanama. He is always self-satisfied. He is always peaceful. Similarly, the devotees of Krishna are also always self-satisfied. They are always peaceful. So the divinity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is described by Prabhupada in one of the shloka translations in Canto 1, chapter 11, 38. The shloka goes as follows: Etad Ishanam Ishasya Prakritisthopi tad gunaihi na yujyate sadatmasthaihi yata buddhis tadashraya. This shloka is translated as, this is the divinity of the personality of Godhead. He is not affected by the qualities of material nature, even though he is in contact with them. Similarly, the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord do not become influenced by the material qualities. This does not mean for devotees like us that we do not have impurities in us. But the thing is that we are in contact with fire. So eventually we will become pure as fire itself. So the intent for us is that we should not lose contact with that fire. You know, the analogy that Srila Prabhupada uses of an iron rod being placed in the fire. If the iron rod stays in contact with fire long enough, then it achieves the qualities of fire. It no longer is an iron rod. So the words Shantaya Kutasthaya Swarochishe are very significant. Although the Lord is within this material world, he is not disturbed by the waves of material existence. So even though the Lord has come in contact, when he comes in his various avatars, he still is far away from Maya Devi. I was actually listening to Amarendra Prabhu's lecture yesterday, and some question was asked. I don't remember the question. The question was pertaining to the Lord and Maya Devi. So Prabhu was explaining very nicely that Maya Devi is like the shadow of the Lord. So she can never be separated from the Lord, but she's the shadow. So wherever the Lord is, the shadow follows, right? Wherever we go, our shadow is always following us. So Maya Devi is literally acting like the shadow of the Lord. But she's not the Lord, but she's the shadow. So here Prabhupada is writing, although the Lord is within this material world, he is not disturbed by the waves of material existence. However, conditioned souls are agitated by 6 kinds of transformations. Namely, they become agitated when they are hungry, when they are thirsty, when they are aggrieved, when they are illusioned, when they grow old, and when they are on the deathbed. So 6 kinds of situations that aggravate the Jivatma is hunger, thirst, some other aggravation, when they are under the influence of illusion, when they grow old, and when they are on the deathbed, Prabhupada is writing. Although conditioned souls become very easily illusioned by these conditions in the material world, the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the Super Soul, Vasudeva, is never agitated by these transformations. That means these transformations have no impact, cannot touch the Lord. Therefore, it is said here, Kutasthaya, that he is always peaceful and devoid of agitation because of his prowess, which is described herein as Swarochishe, indicating that he is illuminated by his own transcendental position. In other words, the individual soul, although within the illumination of the Supreme, sometimes falls down from that illumination because of his tiny position. And when he falls down, he enters into material conditioned life. So the analogy that Prabhupada uses is that the spark, when it gets separated from the fire, and if it stays separated long enough, then it loses its spark. So it is important for the spark to stay connected to the fire. And this is, when it gets separated, that is what is being described as a fall down. Then you come in contact with Maya. The Lord, however, is not subject to such conditioning. Therefore, he is described as self-illuminated. So in the Bhagavad Gita, there is a nice shloka. In the 14th chapter, the 26th shloka, the Lord says, Mam chayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate Sagunan samatityaityan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. In that shloka, Krishna is saying, anyone who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, which means you should never give it up. You should be a staunch devotee of Krishna. At once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So what to speak of the Lord being untouched by Maya Devi? Even devotees can be in that same area of transcendence, but they have to do certain things, that they should always be engaged in Krishna conscious activities. He is described as self-illuminated. So here Prabhupada is saying, the Lord, however, is not subject to such conditioning. Therefore, he is described as self-illuminated. Consequently, any conditioned soul within this material universe can remain completely perfect when he is under the protection of Vasudeva or when he is engaged in devotional service. So that means the gunas do not impact Krishna, even though he enters this contaminated world. Similarly, the gunas also do not impact those devotees who are always practicing Krishna consciousness with faith. So you can see that in this particular shloka, Lord Shiva is identifying the importance of Lord Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. He is also identifying that the Lord has created Brahma, that the Lord is all-pervading as Paramatma, as Vasudeva. But at the same time, even though the Lord is active, he is very peaceful because he is always Satchidananda. Therefore, Shiva is saying, you are not disturbed by the 6 kinds of transformations that Prabhupada just outlined in the purport.
If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.